Hi, everybody. As you may or may not know, my name is Ty, and I'm going to be reviewing a book in this video, essentially. So, my dad and I have a book club, if you can call it that, in which we read a book a month and we review it at the end of the month. So, in this month, we read The Five Types of Wealth by Sahil, which is essentially just a book that speaks about different types of wealth you can have in your life and how to improve those aspects. So we kind of just run through the thing, talk about some of the main quotes, what we learned from it, and our own experience. So if this is a bit of you, please enjoy.
Ah, look at this, how big the Sam Rain is.
Oh my God, he's
Uh,
oh old
don't
man.
say anything. Don't say anything outrageous.
I'm keeping it respectful.
Yeah, keep it respectful, man. You know what you're like.
Your change
So
your name, by the way. Your name's just it's your email address. I don't really want that.
that's right. Everyone knows my email.
Yes.
Anyone wants to email me. So many people are going to see this, obviously. Okay, so today we're going to talk about five types of wealth. Our book club, me and Tyres once a month. So, you want to just start off with what you thought?
Yeah, I'll start off with it. To start off straight, this book is I'm not the target audience. I am not the target audience. I got that in the first like 5 pages. I was like, okay,
Happy aside off straight.
I'm starting off straight. I'm 19. I'm in uni. I'm pretty happy where I am. And it was like starting off like, do you feel like you're working too much? Have you got to see your wife and kids when you get back? I was like,
So the book's called Five Types of Wealth. So it's obviously covers all the five different types of wealth.
yeah,
Obviously, when you're in uni, you know, it's probably like relationships and work, academic success and
yeah,
fun, should
basic.
we say? And
Yeah,
discipline, I guess.
discipline, yeah. But I feel like I've got a lot less to manage than, an adult, like an adult with a wife, family, a job.
You are an adult now,
I
just
am
so
an
you know.
adult now. I forget, man.
You go in prison if you murder anyone, just remember.
True. That is true, but someone who's got a lot, I don't have that many responsibilities. So, let's start off with time wealth. Time wealth, I'm quite time wealthy enough, as of
What,
right
what did he say in the book? He said something like, become a I'm billionaire. That's what he said.
now. I'm
Or
billionaire.
millionaire. Could it be a billionaire? Maybe it
Let's,
couldn't be a
let's make it
billionaire.
billionaire. Let's make it billionaire. Um,
No, but he says that in the book. He talks
yeah,
about young people being, let's call them time millionaires,
yeah,
because I
yeah.
don't know if you have a billion minutes in your life, probably.
I think it was time millionaire. He did mention many,
Yeah,
many
yeah.
millions of like seconds or something. And then
And that's a form of wealth. Yeah, yeah.
it is a form of wealth. He gave us a diagram of like squares, and I think it was like months before you die. I think that does put it into context. For me, I've still got most of the squares completely unshaded, but for Sahil, the author of this book, it was half full, which is
Yeah, yeah.
weird to think about when you put it in quantitative scale. Um,
Mhm.
but
So, would you recommend this book to anyone you know?
I'd recommend it.
Would you recommend it to any of your friends first?
I don't think I'd recommend it to any of my
Because
friends.
it's a slow start as well, isn't it? Really, the
Yeah,
book's pretty slow.
I did enjoy it. I liked his background. I think the one thing that one of the things, but a main thing I took away is at the beginning, Sahil speaks about how his friend says essentially he's got 15 times. Yeah, I think it was no, like I don't know, 5 times or 15 times that he'll see his parents before they die. And luckily for me, I'm not really in a position. I think I'm going to see you a couple thousand more times before you die.
Never know, man. You know
Yeah,
how to wear
yeah.
how to cycle.
I know how you
You know what
sound,
I mean?
but yeah,
Eyes closed.
it is eyes closed. It did make me think, and when I read that, I did like you know I went to see
No,
God.
but a good example of that is like for anyone that was to ever listen to this, that I've got a great grandpa. Sorry, a grandpa. You've got a great grandpa who's
Yeah,
98 years old, who like is sick, who probably isn't gonna make it. like through the year. You went to see him, I went to see him. That may be the last time. If we're lucky, we see him another time. I think the math that he gives in the book is that the average person lives to 80. So if you're like 60 and you see your parents once a year, then you'll see them 20 more times. And if you put it into 20 more encounters, not only would you probably behave differently,
Yeah.
but that you would probably want that to be more.
Yeah.
So I mean, you take that one thing away, that one point away from the book, it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
Just for that, I got some quotes that I could just run by and see what you think about them. So the first one is Masogi, a Japanese, Masogi. I'm probably saying it wrong. Japanese ritual that involves doing something so challenging on one day that it lasts. The benefits last the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's why I was talking about doing a high rocks, because we both hate it. We're not into cardio.
Yeah.
It would probably be the things that I've done that I've really been proud of have been really hard.
Yeah.
That was the first one. I thought that was. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of them because I literally highlighted the whole book.
Yeah. There's a lot. There is a lot.
I've got another one. Never fear sadness. It tends to be sit right next to love, which is quite interesting. That principle, because when you love someone or when you love there is that element. The more you love them, the more worried that you're not going to be with them, or if something goes wrong in a relationship, it's like if you really love them, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
Treat your body like a house you're going to live in for another 70 years.
I think
that's one. That's one for you lot, for the young lot. You know what I mean? Because some of the damage you do when you're your age is you ain't coming back from.
Yeah.
And then there's a few here that like I just don't. I probably used to be really good at. I don't think I'm very good at anymore. Like tell your parents you love them every night before. Sorry, not your parents, your partner. Tell your partner you love them every night before you go to bed. I think that principle you should tell everyone that you love them all the time.
Yeah,
because you really, truly never know when the last time you're going to see them is.
Yeah.
When in doubt, love. The world needs more love. I think we can agree on that one.
I actually quoted that the other day. I was speaking to somebody who's having a bit of a hard time, and I was like, well, you know what? I think this needs is that, when in doubt, the world always needs a little bit more love. And I think,
yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Like, that's just a good principle, isn't it? Never let a good friend atrophy. A good friendship. Oh my God, I'm getting every quote wrong. Never let a good friendship atrophy.
I highlighted that.
I think that is probably the biggest failure that I see in my social group.
Yeah.
In modern, I'm sure there's much bigger, mistakes that people make, but people just like, they don't work on their friendships and then they realize they haven't got any when they need them.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, actually, when I read that line, I actually did call someone that night, and I was like, oh my God, like, this person, one of my best friends, like, it's definitely important I keep this up, because I would not be happy if I look back a few years and I was like, oh my gosh, I've just let that atrophy.
Yeah, like friendship is in tech, like all the research coming up now is just talking about how important. He has a quote in here as well about how important friendships are, important social interactions are. Do you remember that bit? He said that the
one denominator of
your health at 80 is directly correlated with your social interactions at 50.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
I do remember that. I don't know if I highlighted that, but I do remember that.
Before I just go through and quote every aspect of the book, you got any that you want to unleash?
Obviously I do the ones that apply to me.
Yeah, of course, that's why.
Page 52, Sahil speaks about what am I avoiding because of fear? That's essentially the main sort of idea, and I thought about that quite a lot actually. And I ran through
God, I mean, how many things are we all avoiding? I think off making like a video like this because there's probably an element of fear in it.
I'm not a fearful person. It's not often I avoid things because of fear, but there are a few things, and those few things are enough for me to notice it and enough for me to think about it. To think about people who are very, very anxious, and it's just there's so many things you must not do, which would probably make you so happy, but avoid it because you're scared. I
I
like that.
think that just on that note, for me, I just think from what I see, people, you know, the more you fear some things generally, and the more you give in to that fear, the more the fear has a chance to metastasize and grow
Yeah, yeah,
and become bigger. So, my advice on that is like, you know, try to get used to doing things you don't want to do, that are uncomfortable, that you're scared of. I mean, we're not talking about reckless stuff here.
yeah,
Talking about like going to chat to the girl, like, you know, do a Muay Thai class like you're doing. You know, I didn't do a track session from like 15 to 40 because I was scared I was going to be shit.
yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
that's what a waste. The time just flies by.
Yeah. Um, I'll go over two more very quickly. One thing, I don't feel like this really applies to me, but I think it's something that a lot of people do is that essentially never involve the like, be careful who you involve your third parties, who third parties you involve in your relationship disagreements, because
That is a,
you'll forget.
that is a that is so important. That's
Yeah.
cardinal. That's a cardinal
You'll
rule.
forget, they will not forget. And I
Yeah.
bit of a destroyer sometimes. Like if one of your close friends doesn't like your partner for whatever reason,
Have you got that quote? Do you want to just read that?
I'll read it out loud. This is how I interpreted it, but I was just reading it
Yeah,
then.
yeah. Read the quote and then give your interpretation.
Never involve non-professional third parties, parents, friends, siblings, co-workers in disagreements. You'll forget about it, but they won't. But that's how I
Yeah,
interpreted it. And I haven't really had that happen to me, but I've seen it happen to a lot of
yeah.
people. Try my
Mm.
best actually to kind of like when people speak to me about their relationships and stuff, I kind of intentionally remember, hold on, this person's probably doing a lot of good, even if this
Yeah,
relationship isn't, good. I need to not let that affect my view of them as a whole. It's just that they done this one bad thing, as everybody does bad things, so I can't hold it against them, you know?
that is such an important like message, like the amount of times I've told someone about, all the things someone's doing wrong. Never like a friendship, like something like my friend's pissing me off and I'm just speaking about that. And then, someone else would be like, why are you friends with them? Like, well, they're doing other things good as well.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
these are just the things that because the brain is built for war first and love second, so you remember the pain so much more than the love, you
yeah.
know.
Also, people don't want to hear about, generally, and it depends who you are, but like most people don't want to hear about how good your
Yeah,
relationship
it's boring, isn't it? Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, it's boring. Yeah, it's boring. It's so boring to be like, oh yeah, like I had the best time. We're so
yeah,
in love.
yeah,
It's so
yeah,
amazing. People are like, all right, cool. If you're like, yeah, like tried to burn the house down, I had to jump out the window, and then I called the police, and then we make
yeah.
like that's drama that we all find interesting.
Everybody, and myself as well, so easy to just listen to something and be like, yeah, you know what, that person's horrible, and then just like, oh God, maybe they're not. The second one, actually, kind of on that same sort of topic, is what have you changed your mind about recently? I like that. I think it's something that you can kind of spend a lot of time thinking about.
What
I
have you changed your mind about recently?
That's actually a good question. I don't remember what I thought when I read it.
Uh,
Something. I know I've had a few really good moments like that where I've been like, oh, actually, oh my gosh, I've been completely wrong. Oh no, it's one at the tip of my tongue. However, I'll come back to it. I'll think about it in the
no,
subconscious.
I mean you're right. It's something that you should, you do have to acknowledge when
Yeah, yeah,
and you should be questioning your beliefs, because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
important to understand like which beliefs you've inherited from your society and your culture and your friends and family and the views that are truly yours, you
yeah.
know,
Very true. I've
you
inherited
know.
a lot of views, so I'm beginning to realize.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
I,
and that's based on my experience, do you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and you've already had a very different life to me, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. True. But yeah, that was a good one. Go for one. Let me know. I want to hear another quote and I'll find another good one.
There are no favorable winds for the sailor who doesn't know where to go.
Ah.
Got nothing for that one.
It's because I thought you were talking about the Pyrrhus win, I think. You know when like you you win a battle, but at such a big loss, you basically lost, basically. I thought that's what you were talking about, so I was like, wait, hold on, that doesn't make sense.
No, that's here.
Pyrrhus, no, something like that.
Iris victory,
Yeah, Pyrrhus victory.
winning the battle but losing the war.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think that's like another good one. But yeah, I think that's so true. I mean, it just goes back to that thing of just like goals and desires and wants and stuff basically make you. If you don't have any goals, then what are you? You're just a heaping mass of amino
Well,
acids.
you just get caught up in the current of life, and
Yeah,
you just do things that you don't want to do. I did that like yesterday. I did a bit of like the things I wanted to do, but in between, I like doom scrolled, and it was just like,
yeah,
did I
yeah,
even want to do that, or did just I just did it. I mean, it wasn't that for that long, but it was enough time. I could have
yeah,
been spent doing something more useful.
yeah, yeah.
One with about kids, which isn't relevant to you. You don't get your kids. Don't get don't get your kids for 18 years. You get them for 12 or 13.
yeah,
So basically, the time you spend with your kids gets less and less as they get older.
yeah,
I've always thought that anyway. Like you put all the work in at the beginning, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
your kids are just set them free. Like they should be ready to go and do their own thing.
yeah, yeah.
Family time is finite.
Yeah.
Children time is precious. Precious. Be present. Always try to be present with you, but I think that's something that we can all work on. I could have been more like that thing that parents do where they're like on their phone and they're talking to their kid, but they're not really there, or they're watching TV and they're answering, or the phone is the ultimate distraction. Like with your kids, you have to give them the focus that they deserve,
Yeah.
you know.
Agree. Um, I'll bring up another one which I actually have brought into my sort of like life. I haven't done this yet, but it's basically, I read it out exactly. It's take yourself out for a meal alone each month. Carry a notebook and a pen. Bring your favorite book. Leave your phone in your bag and let your mind free. And I've integrated that into my life in my own way, but I haven't done that. Even just like, I love listening.
Afford to eat out, that's fine.
What's that?
Can't afford to eat out, that's fine. Can't go out to a meal. Gotta
I'll
like
cook for myself.
go to the like communal kitchen and sit by yourself.
I'll cook for myself and I'll
Uh,
bring it to like the forest or something, like solo picnic.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, man.
I love listening to music, so I'm always listening to some sort of music. But just like a small thing that I do is that when I shower, I intentionally don't listen to music to kind of just be in silence for a bit. I quite enjoy that.
I
Um,
mean, those are all the things that we like my generation just were
yeah,
doing all the time. That like for you to say you don't shower with music is like a bit mad to me. But obviously, like every one of your generation, actually, I mean, I can't say anything. I'm listening to something every minute of the day. Like I have a bath, a podcast on, I jump out, I'm like, it's like screen, screen, screen.
yeah,
And when I do have time away from the screen, I do have spontaneous interesting thoughts. I'm like, oh, I need to act on that, and then just the screen just distracts you.
I mean, they do say that in the book as well. It's like, how often have you had moments and great ideas when you've just been sat in silence? I remember.
I mean, I think these are the things that we all know that we don't apply. That's what's
Yeah,
important about this book. I mean, there's so much information, there's so many quotes. There is too much to
yeah.
quote right now.
You know what?
Mm.
I think maybe what's the kind of like Excalibur in this whole book, what is the one thing that you took away from this that you reckon you'll forever remember, essentially?
Well, the thing is, I think there's for me, there's not one thing. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's things that will come up as they're relevant.
Yeah.
Working on friendships, that's something that I've historically been good at, but could be better at in the future. Making sure you see the people that you love, that's really important to me. The
Yeah.
principle of like not just being focused on one aspect of life, not just be focused on work too much, not just be focused on socializing, like
Mm.
like balancing yourself across those pillars of life. I
Yeah.
think everyone intuitively knows that. I've actively worked on that as much as I can for
Yeah.
years. So this validates something that I already believed anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
which is that, I see these people who are just like super successful, they don't have any friends, their kids hate them. That to me is not successful. And
yeah,
I also see other people who just like all they care about is socializing and they can't,
yeah,
they can't pay their bills, and that's not successful either. I'm not trying to say, by the way, that I'm so successful because I don't think I am, but I know what to do. You know what I mean?
Good steps.
Uh,
Yeah,
um,
there's so much that you can apply. That's why I think you take like 5 things that are important and just run with that.
yeah, like, as I said, I think here I've got something like 40 notes, and a lot of them are like paragraphs.
Yeah,
And maybe I'll have to go through this. I'll probably read this book again at some point
yeah,
and try and narrow it down. So this is a book that you could probably read once a year and keep on getting something out of it, especially as you get older.
yeah, yeah. Especially for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just it's not saying anything so profound. It just is validating like fundamental principles, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Um,
I agree. There is a great theme here, which I definitely don't do enough, but it's just writing down, journaling, anything kind
yeah,
of
yeah, 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 yeah. I agree with
stuff.
that.
Journaling your life, journaling or like just making physical notes, I think is a principle and an idea that's being lost. I mean, I can't even really speak. I'm kind of at the halfway point now. Now I write on my iPad and I don't really make physical notes anymore. I'm still writing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I think writing is good, in whatever form it comes in. Here's another one, which is just validating the same thing over and over. 20 years from now, the only people who will remember that you work late are your kids. That's one I think people
Oh,
get
yeah, yeah,
locked in. Um, Again, he's saying so many of the same things that I've quoted,
yeah.
like muscles, neglected friendships, atrophy.
Mm.
And then there was a few. Do you remember? There's a point in the book where he talked about when you have a conversation, ask like specific questions. Did you remember that bit?
Yeah, I do remember. What did he say?
Yeah, I like that because we have these superficial conversations that are not really, you know, not really, they're not deep,
Yeah.
but asking someone a real question, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. Asking something about, thinking one of the ones you recommend is like, what are you excited about
What are you working
for
on?
this year? What you're working on, what you're excited about, you
Yeah.
know, trying to get some real intimacy in the relationships.
Um,
You know, I think that's really good.
um,
Um, to some of the quotes I've got here is like I like paragraphs.
yeah, yeah. I do. I have a few of those.
But yeah, I think we've covered for me a lot of the important what stands out in the book for me.
Yeah.
Mm. Is there anything else? First of all, what would you give it as?
I'll give it a 6. A 6.
Yeah,
I,
I'd give it like a 7.5. But only like for me, a lot of the things that he's talking about are things that I encountered before. I can imagine some like, someone in finance or some like, computer engineer.
Society.
Like it could be completely like life changing for them. Someone who hasn't thought about these things much before.
There's definitely like, I mean, you don't really hang out with anyone like that, and neither do I, obviously, but
Mm.
definitely someone who this book has literally, it's like, you know, the book for them. I can see the target audience.
Oh, by the way, Jared was the person who recommended this book, so
Oh,
shout out to Jared. Yeah,
right.
and he loved it. So that, I mean, anything coming from him is good.
Yeah.
Probably next time we read a book, I'm gonna try to remember who suggested it and what the context was behind reading it.
Um,
But yeah, that's where we're at. Any closing thoughts?
Not in particular. I think just I like that if I had to take a few things away, it'd be the writing things down, which I think is really important. I think it's
Yeah.
the time and how you spend time with people. It's having conversations which mean things. I think those are the main ones I sort of took away.
Yeah, that me too. You know, spend time with your kids. Like, remember that you're not going to see everyone forever.
Yeah.
Focus, keep it balanced. You know, work. I really like that principle, the Misogi principle of like doing something really physically hard once a year. I don't know if it's actually just physical, but that's what I took away from it. I would like to do something physically hard once a year.
It
It'd be like as a landmark, be like we did that, boom. You know,
yeah,
I'm proud of myself. You know.
no, I agree.
Um. All right.
That covers
Can
it.
sign out, baby.
Do it. All right. Been real.